Welcome to the webinar Ready for Digital Transformation by PeakAvenue CEO Ulrich Mangold. My name is Tanja Klemann. I'm part of the PeakAvenue marketing team, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to the first webinar of the 2023 Quality and Engineering Circle, our annual online event which starts right now. You can look forward to 3 days of exciting webinars by experts from the international PeakAvenue team and by a selection of customers who are kind enough to give us an insight into their working methods and practices, their best practices. If you haven't had the chance to register for all webinars of interest yet, you can still do that on our website, www.peakavenue.com. There's still plenty of time for that. And when Ulrich starts with his presentation, you are welcome to ask questions by using the chat function, which is available in your webinar dashboard. You can send the questions during the presentation, and Ulrich will answer them at the end in our Q&A session. Just for the record, this webinar will be recorded and made available to you over the next week. Having said that, I think we are all set and ready to start. I will now hand over to you, Ulrich.
Thank you, Tanja, for the charming introduction. Warm welcome, and before I forget this, actually, also thank you to the entire marketing team for organizing this great Quality and Engineering Circle in 2023. I'm quite excited if I see all the different presentations coming up. Of course, warm welcome to all of the participants in the different time zones. I like to see that I don't even know whether I should say good morning or good evening. I would like to kick off the first presentation of this year's Quality and Engineering Cycle. Let's buckle up and immediately jump in before we lose too much time. The title, Ready for Digital Transformation, is a rather broad title. So if you expect to learn on how PeakAvenue can support you in this journey, I think I will meet your expectation. Probably, though, you do not expect that in the beginning, you will also learn something about the new roadmap of Roland Emmerich's next movies, as so often with catastrophic content. Just imagine the following scene. You are sitting after a tiring business trip in an airplane. You have your earplugs in, you listen to music via your smartphone. You have already connected to your neighbors in the plane and had some chats and some laughs. And yeah, you are somewhere in the air, and all of a sudden your legs start smoking. You jump off your seat and you burn your hands when you grab your phone out of your pocket, and so on and so forth. I'm not Roland Emmerich, but the story behind this is real, this potential movie, obviously. And it happened to Samsung with the Galaxy Note 7 in 2016, you might still remember. What was really the problem? Actually, it was not a big one. It was a design flaw, a small design flaw, and some manufacturing issues, which led to the consequence that the short circuit could happen in the battery itself. Effects were fires, mass recall, more than 2 million devices had to be exchanged, planes had to be evacuated. The costs for Samsung were adding up to $5.3 billion US, and that was not even the worst. The loss of market share, and even worse, the brand loyalty and trust was far more critical for Samsung than the money. Trust that had built up over many years was lost with this new generation of phones. So if we ask 5 times why, which we as good quality managers always do, why did this really happen? And from my perspective, the real root cause is time pressure. Apple had launched a new phone, Samsung didn't want to wait, and they gave priority. Priority on time compared to quality. An expensive decision. Next movie from Mr. Emmerich. that will be the following. Just, I take you again into one scene. You are a happy family, you have your kids, and you go in your car on a nice weekend trip. The weather is really warm outside, the kids have good moods and are singing in the car. And all of a sudden, without an accident or an impact of the car, all airbags go off. Also this, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately is a real case. Happened to Takata, an airbag supplier, in 2017. Problem also rather small. Within the cartridge, some material lacked the material to absorb moisture. And that could lead to an unexpected premature deployment of airbags. What were the effects of this rather small problem? 26 casualties, 400 injured people, a recall of 100 million vehicles over many different OEMs, over many different platforms. And Takata, I'm not sure whether you have heard from this company, was a market leader in 2017 with more than 20% of market share. Now they don't exist anymore. They are bankrupt. Root cause? Here, I think the whole company did not have, asking 5 times why, did not have the right quality mindset in the company. And with the lack of this quality mindset, which I believe is the root cause, because also some recalls had happened in the past already, the whole company was erased from the landscape. This is what happened to Takata. I will not draw these film pictures anymore for the next 2 cases, but we now go into the aerospace industry, and I'm pretty sure you'll remember from 2018-19 the Boeing 737 MAX incidents. Actually, also a rather small topic. There were some sensors that didn't work properly, and in combination with a new software, the MCAS, the planes were in some circumstances forced into an uncontrollable nosedive, which the pilots couldn't reverse. The effect, 2 planes crashed, 346 people died. Over the fixing period, 387 planes were grounded for 2 consecutive years, and all this did cost an incredible amount of $19 billion and a loss of market share. Airbus sold more planes and is selling more planes since then than Boeing is. Again, 5 times why, what happened here? We are having something similar with the Samsung case. Airbus had just launched a new A320neo, which is a very efficient and fuel-efficient plane. Boeing tried to come up also with a new plane, did not have enough time, decided to rework the 737 to the 737 MAX from an existing platform, and did some shortcuts during the whole development process. And also here, time was evaluated as more valuable to the company than quality, and the result was devastating. Going to the healthcare section. Philips had respiratory devices in 2021, also in a mass recall. Why? There's a very small part, a filter actually inside, which was fixed with a silicon foam. And during use of this product, some adhesive failures happened and toxic fumes went directly into the lungs of the people. It could be, like on the picture, a sleeping mask. It could also be when you were tubed. And this whole topic led to 123 dead people so far, a massive recall, more than 1 billion costs. And there was a lot of discussion in the media whether Philips could remain independent as a company. In order to do so, more than 10,000 jobs were cut. Here, the root cause is also quite interesting. Purchasing on a part which costs less than a cent, the savings out of purchasing were more interesting and more important, had more priority than quality. So we have seen now examples in communication, automotive, aerospace, and healthcare. And I could have also added a vertical oil and gas with the Deepwater Horizon accident that caused also 11 people being killed, and the biggest environmental catastrophe. Also, this was a small quality problem with a huge effect. But I spare you from that example because the movie already exists. Okay, now with all these examples, you can say, wow, they are drastic and they are exceptional case, but really in our business and in our way of working, we are normal people, that doesn't really affect us. Well, maybe yes, maybe no, but actually we are talking about excellence. And have you ever experienced, and if it's not yourself, maybe your auditor has found those things, something like that. You have initial samples from your suppliers in your product creation process. They have sent you the samples and you figure out that they were based on an old drawing. Or have you ever experienced that while doing SPC, that your FMEA and your planning has never foreseen these tests to be done? Or have you ever experienced that you decided on actions, you had OPL list and have decided on what needs to be done next, and you found out these open actions were not consequently executed? Or have you found out that you fixed a failure on one of your products, and in a variant or a different product, the same topic happens again? Or have you ever experienced that some tests were done with not calibrated test equipment? Or have you ever seen, which I can hardly believe, that an FMEA was outdated? Or that while an audit takes place, you can't find the folder or the latest documents? Or that you don't know what the latest document is anymore, so the versioning doesn't work well? Or have you ever found that auditors find the same finding in consecutive audits? Or did you ever have the feeling, hey, my quality team is doing 80% work on firefighting and only 20% on fire preventing? I could add this list with smaller topics for the next hour. I have experienced all them in my more than 20 years of industry experience. But what does it really tell us? It tells us we need to do a quality journey. We need to change something in the company. And we have to avoid these small imperfections, because these small imperfections, they really lead to the disasters. And at the end, we are then professional, we are champions, proactive, rather than heroes, reactive. That sounds all fantastic. You say, I knew all that, so why do I listen today? Well, the question is, what does it take to become a quality champion? And there are actually 3 points. Number one, you need the right quality mindset in your company. I still remember Dr. Wolf from BMW, head of quality, saying in a conference end of last year that the main reason, out of a survey which was made from BMW, the main reason why people buy a BMW is because they like the quality. And that's quite interesting. So from there, they have a top-down mindset to have the quality as highest priority in their organization. The second topic, which is really, really important and key for a good quality management, is to have in this area the right culture and the right people. We are doing a lot of projects, and in those projects we experience every day that if we have the right people on the counter side, on the companies, on the customer side, from our perspective, the project will be successful. If these people don't care, if these people really say, I purchase software, but that's all I need to do, if this is the mindset of the people who have to realize the different processes, there is a problem. The third topic, and here we come into the methods and the tools. and into the digitization, that is a key to really become a champion. You can't do that with only Excel sheets and hundreds of Excel sheets in different drives and contradicting each other. The first 2 points we can't do for you. That's you. You have to have the right mindset in your company and the right people doing the work. Where we can help, and this is where we have lots of experience in, is providing you with the right professionals in consulting and providing you with the right tools to do your digitization, to have a proactive quality and engineering organization at place. So if we talk about the right tools, what are the ingredients of the right tool? Number one, connectivity. I can give you so many examples where a connected piece of software can help you to avoid mistakes and simply in a poka-yoke way guide you through the right process. I'll just take one, and I had this as one of the potential errors before. Take your gauge management and SPC. If you have two different systems where you do your calibration of your testing equipment and another one where you do your SPC, these two independent systems don't talk to each other. If they are in one software, the gauge management tool can really block the equipment which is not calibrated for SPC, and it will simply not tell you to do the SPC on this test machine. So this is where the connectivity can help you to avoid doing the wrong things in your organization. Lessons learned. This is actually a favorite of mine where you also need a digitization for. You want to make sure that you close your PDCA cycle. Plan, do, check, act. What I don't understand, you read it in every textbook, first semester, and still we don't do the basics right. We don't close this loop. And this is something where a software can help you from a planning phase, FMEA, into a complaint management system where you really see what's going on. If you do not have a connection in that loop, you will not learn. The second thing in terms of learning is creating building blocks. The building blocks can be for products or for processes, doesn't really matter, but you can reuse them. And if you learn in one of those building blocks, you can inherit this to your entire family. Then we come to the to consistent supplier integration. The consistent supplier integration is, from my experience, the area where companies have the biggest waste. It's already a lot of waste if you stay within the own premise of your company. But if you leave those boundaries, this is where you can really burn a lot of money and time, because things are done twice, things are done differently, things are based on different information. You're not talking about the same drawing, you're not talking about the same bubbling, you are not talking about the same characteristics. When taking over characteristics from the customer side, there's a mistype for whatever reason. And all these processes, they just burn a lot of money. And here, you also want to have a digitization throughout the supply chain. The excellent risk management is actually a no-brainer. Every one of you, I'm sure, has seen charts that failures that happen later in the process, in the product creation process, will become exponentially more expensive. So why don't do a good planning where you early in the process prevent the mistakes from happening and save a lot of costs before you have built tools, before you have built thousands of parts, before you go into a recall. Then what is important for a tool? You want to have a very strong integration of master data throughout the entire product lifecycle and throughout the entire process world, and of drawings and 3D models. So that is a key. The rigid action management, I mentioned it before, is a key. So you want to have a tool that helps you to organize yourself and to take the right decisions. Also to have an overview, how is your staff performing in following up the action items. Then you want to have a very stringent document management. You need the right versions. You need the right workflows so that you don't have paper circulating in your company waiting for signatures and you don't know in which inbox your paper is waiting. And last but not least, database. I think capturing the knowledge of what we very often deem to be irreplaceable staff is something which is key. If those people leave, we will really have an impact in our organization. And if we can capture this knowledge in databases, then the people are replaceable. Also, we want to have the possibility to use cockpit charts to have a good overview of what's going on, a right transparency level. And we have customers who use for their quality meetings the online cockpit charts of the tool, where they can drill down to the individual quality incidents rather than preparing for many days and weeks PowerPoint slides which are outdated at the time of the presentation. So we have seen now the 8, from my perspective, most important requirements of a tool in order to help you to come to a digitization. So what's new? Seriously, nothing. So far, we can say this is a story you have heard from PeakAvenue and from Plato and IQS in the past already. So nothing spectacular. But what is important? You should know that today there are 2 world-class products out there. There's Eins in the PeakAvenue portfolio, which is a leading web-based FMEA and risk management tool. And you have the world's most functional and connected quality management system in the portfolio. So there's actually no reason whatsoever to not start your journey to excellence with us today. I would like to mention that there are far more details to these 2 tools. And Tanya already said that in this quality circle, you will have a number of exciting presentations over the next 3 days. And they will, of course, cover everything around FMEA, MSR, functional safety, but also then on the quality management side about APQP, about the connected quality management system and the advantages thereof, about 8D and complaints, and of course also about artificial intelligence. How can we miss that? So when I told you what you already know in a summary, I would also like to tell you as a CEO what is new. And that is the future. And now, like you did with Roland Emmerich's plottings and scenes, you can close your eyes and imagine what will happen if Eins and the QC will merge together in a PeakAvenue cloud. In a cloud that is open, easy to be connected to your ERP systems, PLM systems, and any other core systems you are using in your area, which is easy to use, which is scalable for more users or more functionality or more processes, which has, from the architectural perspective, state-of-the-art technology, which is a SaaS web platform, and which is covering the entire digital thread, the entire life cycle of the product, and the entire quality perspective of your company. Wow, that's tremendous news. That will be tomorrow. And now I take you to this journey from a different perspective. What does that mean? Hey, your users, they just go into a web browser and enter the software. You have the opportunity to have a very clear IT landscape. I meet many companies who are now trying to clean up their scattered and not connected software into a clear software structure and landscape in the companies. So here you have the chance to use this PeakAvenue platform for the whole quality-centric view. And what I like most, imagine you as a functional department will be best friend of your IT department. Your IT department will love you because they don't have to buy hardware. They don't have to support anything. They don't have to run migrations. the hosting is taken over by PeakAvenue, and also the migrations are done by PeakAvenue without the downtime. You will have the highest IT security standards because we use the big cloud providers to help us there. You have the opportunity to grow and scale at your own pace. You can start with your biggest pain points and then grow and scale in numbers of users, in functionalities, and in processes you want to do. Something which I think is really important is the capture of the company's knowledge. We are having the boomer generation now, which is going to retire. And at the same time, we are having a war for talents. It's very difficult to find staff which is capable of doing everything. So we need to capture all this knowledge in our database. And that's why the database structure is so important also in this cloud environment. If we have this, the quality in a database doesn't really help. You need to retrieve the right quality. And here we are going to use artificial intelligence wherever it makes sense. Here you will hear something about our plans in the last presentation of this quality circle. At the end, we must not forget the user. It is so critical that the user has fun working with the software, that it's intuitive for him to use, or him or her, and to learn the software functions. And here we are going to build up a UX UI world, which is actually covering the required complexity of the processes, but do this on a persona base as intuitive as possible. So it says tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow means that we are going to launch the first apps in 2024. What is an app? An app is a cool word. It's much better than modules or process. We call it app. It's just so fancy. But at the end, it's nothing else than really to cover the module. And the whole system you have seen from the EINS and from the QC side will be in PeakAvenue Cloud in 2026. So that's our future path. And that will be an exciting way to upgrade to one of the most modern systems you can find in the quality landscape. What's the consequence for you and also for the society? If we do projects, we always look at the magic triangle. We somehow try to do something which is impossible, optimizing time, cost, and quality at the same time. This, with an approach of the software, is possible though. If you look at time to market, if you have a lean process, if you avoid misunderstanding, miscommunication with suppliers or internally in your organization, if you reduce your administrative work, you don't have to retype anything. If you can be fast and thorough in your analysis, you can be finding topics earlier in the process. You can simply have an efficient way of working that will save time. What about quality? The quality will also improve because you have this transparency and you have this high consistency in the whole tool. You capture the knowledge, so you are getting less dependent on people, even if you do product transfers and production transfers in your organization. And at the end, it leads to have higher reputation at your customer side, no matter whether it's an end customer or not. And at the end, you save 50% of your time, of your quality cost. If you really close the loop, this PDCA cycle, which I showed before, we have examples on our customer base where we could prove that 50% of the quality cost went down after implementing the PDCA cycle. We also have examples where we can save 70% of the process time. That is a cost topic and a time topic immediately. And what I don't want to mention here is if you avoid, by having an excellent system, these big disasters we have seen in the beginning, you also can save potentially billions. Now, coming to the end in terms of a summary, so that we have some time to discuss, I'm looking forward to your questions. Please already type them in now. Summary, I said, what are the three key topics to really improve and to get an excellent quality procedure, there are two topics which are in your hands. That is the quality mindset you have, and you need to have this from top down, and you need to have the right culture and people who are executing the quality. Here, I would like to give you a quote from Jim Rohn, which I really like. If you really want to do something, you will find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. And for my large experience, I would say we still have too many companies out there in the world who rather find an excuse why they are not building up an excellent quality system rather than to doing it. The second topic, what's our role in this game? We can supply you and support you in methods and tools in the digitization, because, and that is really something you can trust on, the mission we are having in the entire company on the PeakAvenue side is we make quality champions. We want to make you proactive in this whole process.